The lab has been useful to me, although it is just starting to actually be fully functional. It's been useful to me in a number of ways. In the sense that although I've not been able to use the facial recognition software here yet, because we've been able to really set it up as what we used to call a hole in the wall, in a sense that we can create a lab that, although it is closed physical space, because of the opportunities and the affordances that we've put in here, the technology that we've put in here, we can communicate with anyone, anywhere, anytime. I've taught my course from my canoe, as some people know, and this was sort of like to show that the extent to which this lab can really sort of like spread out to outside its physical walls, thus allowing to bring in people as well as to export people and resources from in here. Physically, the lab in here, we're starting to use the technology, if you want, the recording technology, to just change completely our thinking of how we're going to analyze certain software, how people work with certain software, how people interact with certain kinds of devices, how they interact with mobile devices, for example. All this new wave of mobile devices that have been on the market for about 5 years now. This is going to allow us to study this in new ways. And what it's already allowing me to do, even before I even touch the equipment, is to think differently about how I can analyze the data. So I think the biggest contribution for me is it's helping me change methodologies. It's helping me design new research methodologies, and to validate such new research methodologies, that it'll allow us to look at the kinds of things that beforehand we would only think of doing in study or pre-test or post-test. We would interview people before or after, but we couldn't really study interactions while they were happening. This lab is allowing me to think in terms of, well, how do we design studies now where we can actually study what is happening during the interaction? What is the learner, the child, the adult doing during the interaction as they're interacting with other people on screen, for example, on a mobile device? How are they interacting with the information when it's on screen as opposed to on paper? We're able to look at, for example, studies that we're thinking of doing right now, where we want to compare how people interact with books as opposed to interacting with the same information, but on an iPad or some kind of a tablet. And these are the kinds of studies that this lab allows me to think about designing data collection strategies that was not possible before.